They say there's a stretch of road in Tokyo where no one slows down, because those who do swear, they still hear the crash. The city's heartbeat pulsed through the night as I made my way home from high school. The late-night air thick with the promise of secrets. Streetlights flickered in rhythm with my steps, and the deserted streets whispered of stories better left untold. With my backpack slung over one shoulder, I followed my usual path, a narrow road that curved beneath a railway bridge. The city's sounds faded until only my footsteps remained. Then came another set, soft, deliberate, keeping pace. I turned, expecting someone. Nothing, just the breath of cold air funneling through the alley. A chill crawled down my neck. I walked faster. The echo matched me, heel for heel. Then came the sound. A violent crack that split the silence. A car slammed into a figure crossing the street. She hit the pavement hard, then nothing. Stillness. The driver hesitated for a single heartbeat, then sped away. Taillights vanished into darkness. I couldn't move. For a moment, I thought maybe I'd imagined it, that my brain, desperate for reason, had filled in the blanks. But when I stepped closer, I saw her hand twitch once before falling limp. My phone slipped from my grip twice before I could call for help. The words caught in my throat. "There's been an accident. Please hurry." When the sirens came, the street transformed. People emerged from doorways, sleepy and confused, phones glowing in their hands. Nobody spoke to me. They just stared at the woman in the road as if she were part of the asphalt now. Paramedics worked beneath the unblinking streetlights. When they lifted her onto the stretcher, one white shoe remained behind. I never forgot that detail. Later, the police told me her name, Sato Miyuki, 28, an office worker. The driver was never found. Days blurred together. At school, my friends talked about exams and pop idols while I sat staring at my hands, remembering the tremor that wouldn't stop. Nights were worse. I'd lie awake replaying the sound, that split-second scream of metal and bone, until sunrise bled through the curtains. I told myself it was guilt. That's what the mind does when it sees something it can't fix. But guilt doesn't make you hear footsteps. It started a week later. Faint tire squeals outside my apartment window, always at 2 a.m. When I looked, the street was empty. Once, I found a single wet footprint by the elevator even though the hallway was bone dry. Another night, the radio beside my bed hissed with static, and a woman's voice whispered through, "Why didn't you stop him?" I stopped sleeping. Coffee replaced rest, and every mirror in my apartment seemed to warp the corners of my vision. Eventually, I started walking again, hoping the movement would drown the sounds in my head. One night, I reached the site of the accident. Someone had built a small roadside shrine, flowers, coins, and a photo I couldn't bring myself to look at. I knelt, whispered a clumsy prayer, and turned to leave. Gravel shifted behind me. One step, then another, slow, dragging, uneven. The sound of someone following who no longer knew how to walk. I didn't look back. Not that night. Not any night since. The police eventually closed the case. No leads, they said. Just another Tokyo mystery. But the city itself seemed unwilling to let go. Every time I passed that stretch of road, the streetlights flickered in perfect sequence, tracing the same path the car had taken. Last winter, it snowed. A rare, quiet night. I crossed that bridge again, and saw a single set of footprints pressed into the fresh snow, stopping right where the shrine stood. No entry, no exit, just there, waiting. People talk about ghosts as if they belong to temples or old houses. But in Tokyo, they live in motion. In trains that never sleep, in vending machines that hum long after midnight, in the neon reflections that stretch too far across the wet pavement. Sometimes I think Miyuki isn't haunting me. She's haunting the moment, the pause between guilt and memory, between a life lived and a life erased. Sometimes I wonder if the road remembers me too. I've started noticing small things. A crosswalk light that turns green before I press the button. A bus that always brakes in the same spot where she fell. Once, I heard someone humming softly under the bridge. A tune I couldn't place until I realized it matched the melody from her phone's ringtone that night. It's as if the whole city has absorbed her memory, replaying fragments through concrete and cables. Maybe ghosts don't just haunt people. Maybe they haunt the patterns we leave behind, the ones we mistake for coincidence. Now, when I walk home, I keep my head down. But I still feel the pull of that road. It waits, patient and silent, for someone to listen. Because every city hides a place where tragedy loops forever. A place where sound refuses to die. For Tokyo, it's that stretch of asphalt beneath the bridge, where echoes live longer than people do. They say if you stop there at night, you can still hear her footsteps chasing the car that never stopped. Fear has no borders, not even between the living and the dead. Thank you for watching Horror Across Borders. If this story stayed with you, make sure to subscribe. We bring you a new haunting every Tuesday and Thursday. Next time, another voice in the dark. A woman in a red mask, and a question that can kill you. The Legend of Kuchisake Onna, the slit-mouthed woman, premieres Tuesday. It's a Japanese urban legend you don't want to miss. Before you go, you can choose what haunts you next. Watch another legend, or uncover one of our true ghost stories, right here. Either way, the fear never really ends.